you go. Uh-oh, did you lose it? He's so confused. Oh, there it is. Good boy. Okay. Good morning, everybody. So these are our mornings. In the mornings, I do kibble free throw. So this is how the dogs eat. I just scatter it about, and the dogs and the whiskey jacks, look at them. Clean up. And it's good. It takes them a good like 20 minutes to peck away and grab everything. Oh, it's a lovely day. We've only had a couple warm days of 25 degrees Celsius and above, just 2 days. And now it's about, I don't know, maybe 18, 17, and it's about 10 in the morning on a Sunday. It's just perfect. It's going to be cool this weekend, which is good. Always worry about forest fires out here. There's still my big old gravel pile. Oh, look, he's back. And the dogs do not care about the birds. You can see they just let them have their whatever they can get. So yeah, I got my new Starlink over there. I broke down and ordered one because a truck took out my phone line on the highway, and I was out without internet for about 10 days because it took them so long to come fix it because they needed a huge crew of people. And I was toying with the idea of getting Starlink because a lot more people are getting it around here. It doesn't look like there's any satellites up around the Yukon, but some people really love it. Other people hate it up here. So I thought they had this killer deal. And so I thought, oh, I'll get the hardware and just give it a try for the 30 days. And oh man, when it works, it's amazing. My download speed here is a maximum of 15 megabytes with my old service. And the upload speed is like 1. So anytime I have to upload a YouTube video, it takes me, I have to do it overnight because it takes so long, even if it's like a 15-minute video. So it's quite a pain. Oh, so it's quite a pain in the butt. So I got the Starlink, installed it, and I've tried it in a few different spots now. And so it has to point north, which is a bummer because look at my view south. It's like totally open. But yeah, so there seems to be pretty good, but where is even better is actually on one of the posts, that post over there. The one problem with Starlink is those two trees. They're in the way no matter what I do, where I put it. I've tried it on the gravel pile there before, and it wasn't too bad there. I've just tried it on the ground over here. Jeez, these birds are insane. One just sideswiped my head. I've tried it here. Those were in the way. And over there, it's pretty good because it kind of just catches a little bit of the top of the trees. It'd be better if I put it on a post there, but I kind of don't want it in the middle of the yard either because who knows what'll happen with that. Plowing in the winter or something happens and it gets knocked over. So with those posts, and then I'd have to put posts in there. So I don't have to put posts in there. I could just put an extender on one of them and make it even higher. And then I can access it. Like I was going to put it on the roof too, but that is a pain. I don't want to really go up there with a ladder. And then if I need to do anything with it, it's really a pain to get to. So I'd rather have it lower. And there is supposed to be a good spot. So anyways, all that to say that Starlink is working really well. It drops out here and there, but oh my God, the speeds. I uploaded a video trying it out and it took less than 30 minutes for a 18-minute video. So I'm amazed with it, and I think I'll keep it. I'm gonna keep my other services just kind of a backup just in case for a little while and see how it goes. Okay, you done? She's always the first. Fossy is always the first to be done. Howler's still grazing. My little cows. Maggie, you done? I'm just sitting here with my coffee on a Sunday morning, and Lewis is probably out pooping somewhere. Oh, there he is. there, how's it going? It has been a minute since I've seen you last. It's now summer here. Look at that greenery behind me. The leaves are coming out. I still got a big old pile of wood here. That was here all winter. So yeah, when is the last time I posted? That would have been in the dead of winter, I think maybe even before the new year. And yeah, I just needed a bit of a break from everything. And yeah, committing to YouTube is it's a lot of work. And there was other projects and stuff that I had on the go that I wanted to focus on. And you know, I was kind of losing a little bit of interest in it. The fire wasn't there anymore. So yeah, thought the best thing to do would be just to take a little bit of a break. It was kind of unplanned, just kind of happened, and that's just the way it goes. Just needed it. Middle of May, and holy cow. Let's see, how did winter go? It seems so long ago now. We didn't have as much snow as the last couple years. If you've been around here a while, you remember that we've had a lot of snow the last 2 years. This is a dry climate typically, but the last 2 years, it was like unprecedented snowfalls. And it took a long time to melt in the spring. And even this year we had a late spring. It was pretty cool right up until, like a couple weeks ago. And there was lots of snow, but not as much snow as even last year. And so it melted fairly quickly. I had a little bit of a pool around here, a bunch of mud, but that only lasted like maybe a couple weeks, and then before I knew it, it was dry, and it's dry out now, so it's pretty awesome. The ponds, which were gigantic last year, are kind of shrinking up already, and not the big ones stay around, but yeah, there's not a lot of pools around here for mosquitoes, which is good. So yeah, winter kind of went by. I think by the time it was December, I think I only plowed my driveway once, which is amazing compared to the last couple of years. And then my quad kind of really broke down, or it was just really sketchy. I was able to still drive it all winter, but it was not plowing very well. So I hired a neighbor to, I think, plow with his quad twice. And then I got someone to come and do like a huge plowing late in the winter, just cleared off the driveway totally because I could barely get up and down it. And because we got a few really big snowfalls at the end of the season. And then once he did that, it was actually pretty good. There's not much snow after that. So my driveway dried really nicely. Spring came, and oh yeah, my mom and I went on a cruise. I went on my first ever cruise to the Caribbean, and that was amazing. Caribbean and Central America. I had never ever wanted to go on a cruise, but I thought my mom loves cruising, and we thought it would be kind of a good thing for her. She has limited mobility, so we thought that the cruising would be the way to go. But there's actually, those ships are so big, there's a lot of walking on the ship alone. And then when you get to the ports, there's also a lot of walking. So it worked out okay. We got to see some really cool things. I went swimming with stingrays, which was really cool. And there's so many highlights on this trip, I tell you. I've never been in the water, I haven't been in the ocean very much in my life at all, so I got to go in the ocean, and then there was like about 20 stingrays swimming around, and we got a little bit of a introduction on, you know, the stingrays, and got to swim with them and see them swimming around. And I just assumed that they didn't have the barbs, you know, on them, like, because I've heard that they take those off of like some stingrays in captivity. But at the very end of it, I was like, oh yeah, so they don't have the barbs here. They're like, oh no, they all do. I'm like, oh okay, well, that's good to know now. Didn't warn us about that earlier, but you know, just thinking of Steve Irwin and what happened to him.
Over here, what do you think? There you go.
It was really cool, and of course it was really hot there. And then we went to Curacao and Aruba were our next stops, and so those are those islands. They're really close together. I think they're only a few hours sailing apart, but we spent one day in one afternoon in Curacao. We went on a bus tour there, and you know, I'm just really a big fan of just getting to know the local culture. I want to get, instead of spending the day at the beach, which my mom didn't really want to do either, I wanted to like get driven around and see the local culture and see how people live, and you know, see the different places and stores and all that, and museums, all that kind of stuff. So we went on this tour, and the only good thing about the tour was that we went to the Curacao factory, the blue Curacao, where they make that liqueur. That was the best part of that tour. And they rushed us through so fast that my mom and I were the last ones on it. We were getting a drink at the end, and we were the last ones. They had to come get us because the bus was already full, and I was going to the bathroom, and we were shopping for Curacao to take home, and they were getting slushy drinks made. And the stops were so fast, they whipped you around so fast, it was just crazy. We decided the next day, we actually had a tour booked on a bus, but we decided to just kind of wing it the next day because the tour was also like at 7 in the morning. We're like, we don't want to get up at 7 in the morning on our vacation. So we went out, you know, a couple hours later and found this guy selling tickets to a van tour, and he was like $30 to take you around for like 2.5 hours on a van in like a small little minivan. And we're like, yeah, can you take us? You know, my mom has a walker, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I have room. And he's like, okay, well, I'll make room for her. And so he did, and he took us on this awesome personalized tour around the island and told us about his life and growing up there, and how, you know, like Aruba and all those islands are so connected to the Netherlands, and so a lot of them go to the Netherlands for schooling, and some of the kids move there, some families move there, but they go back and forth pretty easily. So it was really interesting to hear his life story, and a couple of his kids were in university in the Netherlands, and so then he just took us on a tour. Yeah, we got to see the lighthouse. We got to read a little bit about the history of Aruba. Where else did we go? He took us to a beach, which we just kind of, you know, wandered down on, and it was so hot there, holy cow. But it was beautiful, beautiful sandy white beaches, and lots to do there. That's one place I would easily go for like a week vacation, to just sit on the beach, hang out in the hotel, just because there's so much to do, like the parasailing and jet skiing, and the beaches are just amazing. And the people were so nice there. I really, really loved everyone we met there. It was kind of cool. So we had 5 stops altogether, and this was, like I said, 10 days. And the next stop was, I think, my second favorite probably, was the Panama Canal. And we got to go through partial, like this is one thing we were looking for. My mom really wanted to see the Panama Canal. And so we were looking for that on one of the cruises. And because it takes a little longer and you have to go through the locks, and those tours are usually 10 days or more, and I was fine spending 10 days on a cruise ship because I thought, you know, I'll get the full experience of a cruise being there for 10 days. And so, yeah, we went into the Panama Canal. We got there at about 5 in the morning, and so they said, you know, come out to the bow of the boat at 6 in the morning or whatever if you want to see it from there. But we had a balcony in our room, so we just sat there and drank coffee, and I was up like right at 5 in the morning, and I was taking footage of the tugboats beside us, and just as much as I could, because I really wanted to take it in. It was so cool to see in person. I'm sure you know it's like an engineering feat to be able to create those canals, especially the Panama Canal, because there's so much involved with it. And it was really cool to hear about the history of it, and then go through it on this giant cruise ship. And I'll show you some video here, but you can see how close the locks are, and how little room there is on either side of the ship. It's quite amazing. And you go through them so fast. It seems like pretty fast, actually. There's 3 sets of locks going into this lake called Gatun Lake, and that's where we anchored for the rest of the day. And so people could either stay on the ship, and or others could go off on excursions. So when you're going through the locks, like, it's really quick. You go through 3 of them, and it only takes like 8 minutes to fill up that whole lock with water. And then you go into the next one, and 8 minutes for that one to fill up. Same thing. But there's always like, there's lots of people going through here, lots of cruise ships, private boats, cargo ships, everything. So there could be a big wait if you're going through the locks, but For us, it wasn't too bad. We seemed to get there pretty quickly. These ships have to keep on time too. So yeah, we got into the lake and I wanted to go to, I signed up for this excursion to see this native village, and it was like a hour and a half, 2-hour bus ride away from where the ship was. And then a like 20-minute canoe ride up a river to this little village. And this was kind of a cool tour. There's a lot of people on it. There's like 50 of us on the bus. We had a bus and then a van. So there was a lot of people. But that little native tribe, man, they've done this a lot. So they're pretty good at getting people onto the canoes and upriver. But the river was really low. Like they were just entering the rainy season. So it was the end of the dry season. There was not much water in the river. So they could usually fit like 20 people on these boats. But they only took like 8 to 10 of us on them. And so the chief came up and gave us the whole history of his tribe and how stuff like voting in the tribe works, and you know where they came from and their history. And then we had and then one of the women came up and she talked about how the crafts that they do. And we had some fish and some plantain, and I can't remember the name of the fish, but I probably will when I'm editing this, so I'll add it in. And the plantains, they brought us this little meal, and it was so good. That fish was probably the best fish I've ever had in my life. And we had some watermelon and some pineapple, which was really good. And then they sold us some, took us to a little craft area and sold us some crafts, which they say were all handmade, but they're the exact same crafts you get in Panama at the shops. So I don't think they actually hand make any of them, but happy to support their little lifestyle there. So I bought a few things. And what else? And we went to probably my favorite place and the one I was looking forward to the most, and that was visiting the Sloth Sanctuary. Who doesn't love sloths? I've been wanting to meet sloths for my whole life, and I've been wanting to meet them. I've been wanting to see them for a very long time. And I asked my mom if she wanted to do this. She's not a huge wildlife fan, but she was like super into it, and so we both signed up for it. And so it was to see the sloths in the sanctuary, and then to take a little canoe ride around the Sloth Sanctuary, where you can actually see wild sloths in the trees and monkeys and stuff like that. But again, it was a dugout canoe, small little canoe, and we weren't sure if my mom was going to be able to do it. But we went anyways. And the group, and half went on the canoes, half went to meet the sloths, and we did the sloths first. And the guy opens up one room, there's 2 rooms there with sloths, and he opened it up, and I just kind of screamed a little bit. I was like, I don't know why I'm so excited, or why I was so shocked to see sloths, because I knew they were going to be here, but I'm just so excited to see them. And all these sloths are all injured, or they're unable to live in the wild, so they take them in and they just keep them alive, basically, give them whatever they need. And the ones we saw don't ever go back out in the wild. Like some were missing limbs, some were blind, some had been like hit by cars, attacked by dogs, so they have injuries that they just can't go back in the wild. And it was really cool. It was a great place for a tour because they gave us so much information about sloths and anything. The guide was amazing, and I'll put a link down in the description if you're ever in Costa Rica. Did I say that was in Costa Rica? I think I forgot. Anyways, that's where we went next, Costa Rica, to meet the sloths, and it was just amazing. And then I went on the dugout canoe, but my mom didn't, because they were just so wobbly and small that she has a paranoia about boats, because she had a bad experience getting onto a boat many years ago that left her permanently scarred, so she's not ever wanting to go on a boat like that again. So I went out with a couple other people, and we did this little tour where we saw howler monkeys in the trees. And we saw some lizards. What else did we see? We got to see like ginger growing. We saw a couple sloths in the trees, but they you know, after seeing the sloths up close, and you know, they're like 3 feet away from you, but they're in their cages, but still they're so close. When you see them in the tree, they're just kind of balled up into a little ball of fur, and you can't really tell what the heck it is. So that wasn't as exciting. I'm sure it would have been exciting if that was the first sloth I saw. Here is the Fort Lauderdale Airport, and here's Mom playing games. As usual. Again. We were exhausted, but man, it was a great time, great fun with my mom, memories that we'll have forever now, and now I'm looking for our next vacation. So I'll keep you posted on that. But anyway, so now I'm back at home, back at work, doing all that usual stuff, and what are my plans for this summer? I'm sure some of you are wondering, and well, one thing I do know is I gotta pile that into the shed. This has been here all winter. So this is the stuff that was taken down fire smarting around the property a couple of years ago. So it's all nice and dry and ready to be burned. Probably gonna do some fishing this summer. No big plans to go anywhere or do anything specific. Just, yeah, lots going on. Just wanna enjoy it too, have some fun. I gotta organize the shed. I ended up just throwing a bunch of stuff in that my big workshop last year, and it really needs some good organizing, so I'm going to try and do that. For the cabin, I really want to get started on the chinking and staining on the inside, on the other side of the cabin, that I didn't do last time. But I did all that staining and chinking on the outside, and I got tendonitis so bad, and that in both of my elbows, and that lasted for like over a year. I think the tendonitis was really bad and painful. I don't have that anymore, and I really want to take it easy and not go through that again, because it's so painful to have like that nagging pain all day long and all night long. Like it just, I don't want to be there again. So I'm going to take it easy, just sand a little bit at a time. Probably just use my little sander, not the big heavy one that I was using. And hi, Maggie. You're too short to put your head. Come here. Say hi. There's her nose. I'll keep posting here. It probably won't be weekly, but it'll probably be every couple of weeks. I'll try and get up a video. I don't want to just post if, you know, nothing's really going on. But yeah, if you guys want to know anything, if you have any questions, deep, lingering questions, let me know in the comments, and I can address those in the next video. So yeah, and I'll take you on a little tour with some drone footage and some dog running footage, and just show you the scenery around here right now, because it's getting really pretty right now. Got snow on the mountains over there, and the green against the snowy backdrop is just...
Can we find a hope for tomorrow? Can we find a helping hand that can ease the pain and sorrow for every woman, every man?
Right there, beside you. Oh my God, behind you. There you go, good boy. All right, still haven't cut this tree down.